Why does European Union keeps punishing American big tech companies? For the past several years, European Union has been carefully designing its regulatory environment in order to ensure its core principles: privacy, competition, and sovereignty. So in 2016, European Union adopted General Data Protection Regulation, which became the worldwide standard for handling personal data. Businesses must receive explicit consent from users to collect their data, there must be clarity how this data is used, and companies must offer to people to either view or remove their data upon request. Then in 2022, the EU adopted Digital Markets Act, a regulation that targets specific platforms which the European Union calls gatekeepers. These are platforms with dominant position on the market that regulate access to apps, to search, to advertising and e-commerce. There are 6 companies, and you can guess this is Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Meta, and ByteDance, aka TikTok. These companies are prohibited from ranking their services higher, from preventing users from removing pre-installed apps, and from forcing app creators to use platforms' payment mechanisms. In 2022, the EU adopted Digital Services Act, an obligation for companies to create a safe environment for users online, which means that the companies must quickly remove unlawful content and allow users a say in deciding how algorithms work. And then in 2024, the EU adopted the a lot discussed AI Act, rules of compliance for companies that develop AI technology. Under AI Act, the EU banned using deepfakes and established stricter rules for handling biometrical data. And then there are antitrust and competition laws, a long-standing law inscribed in the Treaty of the Functioning of the European Union, which prevents companies from abusing their dominant position on the market. Big tech cases are often pursued because big tech companies engage in self-preferencing behavior. Just weeks ago, the European Commission slapped Google with €2.95 million fine for using self-preferencing practices with its ad tech services. And not only the European Commission slapped Google with the fine, but it also demanded that Google restructures its business model, potentially implying for Google to sell its ad tech services. Now, this shows that the European Union is ready to not only regulate the market, but it also restructures the market in order to ensure fair competition. On September 10, the European Commission's President Ursula von der Leyen delivered its annual State of the Union address to the members of the European Parliament. In this address, von der Leyen clearly stated that technology and sovereignty will be at the heart of Europe's strategic priorities. This means that Europe will be designing its own digital regulation in order to ensure fair competition for European companies, that it will be investing heavily in AI technology and building AI gigafactories, and that it will be creating the ethical rules for the companies to function on the market, such as imposing age limits for children to use technology. For example, just days ago, Apple released its new feature of live translation, available to users all over the world, except for the users in Europe. Both the AI Act and the GDPR have explicit rules how speech and translation should be done. And the European regulators will want to check how live translation works and how it impacts privacy, data flows, and competition on the market. And Apple wants to make sure that it's compliant with all of the regulatory rules in order to avoid being fined all over again. But really, other European companies that can deliver the same service to users?